I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there.
Hi guys, welcome to the studio and welcome to Creep on June. Excited. I am so excited, guys. Okay, so today is actually the 2nd of June and I don't think, well no, the video will definitely not be up today because it's 10 to 5. But I'm hoping to maybe be at least a day behind when I do upload things. I'm not going to be uploading every day, but when I do upload I hope to have been able to catch up with everything. Okay, so yesterday on the first, Tracie kicked us off with the collaboration. Awesome video, watch it guys. Today, oh this is just brilliant. Today it is Joan's or Joni's journals, or Joni's journals I think. Check it out anyway. If you click on this, on the link below, on the calendar side of it, link below, click on that number, it'll take you to her channel. Oh my god, it's great, absolutely great. I actually haven't finished watching it yet, but I got part way through it and it's just like, I need to go and play. I really need to go and play. So yeah, so I will be doing the same as Tracie did yesterday for her day 1 base, which was this. This is Tracie's yesterday. It is an envelope, and she did the envelope with a window in it. And yes, I'm not really going to give much information on that because I'm going to really, you know, please just go and watch the videos. They are awesome. But I will do that because this will go in with what I want to do. Today's is day 2, which is this one. And there is a day 2B, but I don't know if that's for today or if that's a tomorrow or like an extra. But yeah, so anyway, and Joni is using this today as well, so to make an awesome upside down tag. Oh no, yeah, no, this must be hers as well. So both of them must be hers because she's actually using this to make an upside down tag, and it is awesome. Well, it will be awesome. I haven't finished watching it, but I just know it'll be awesome. Yeah, so I will also do that because that again will fit in with what I'm doing. Oh, so excited. If I have, you know, for those who haven't already watched the intro video for this, go and watch it. My day is the 28th, so you've got plenty of fabulous videos to watch before my day. Now I have printed the kit pages. We each have a tag, well, not so much a tag, the tags or envelopes or journal card bases to work on for each of our days. And mine is here. I'll just quickly grab that. So day 28 is this, which is my day. So on the 28th I will be making something with this to go into my project. But it could also maybe just be a standalone tag. So, but in the meantime, I've changed my mind several times on what I want to do. At first it was like, I'm not going to do a full-on project because I never finish them. I start them, I never finish them. I did Tracie's December daily with her and I started the journal, never finished it. I did my day, but then I never finished the rest of the journal. But this one I am determined to follow through because it's just wicked. Also it's Creep on June, so if I don't quite get it finished now, I could maybe push it to November and finish it off then, you know, as I come back to it and finish it, because it'll still fit the theme for Halloween. Anywho, I have been playing, and as you can see I've printed it out 3 times here, because I intend on layering. Okay, so my original idea was to no, have the pages this way, and then glue this second page, the back of that, to the back of the first page, but kind of either leave the top open, so glue along there and leave the top open as a pocket, or glue along there and leave the side bit open as a pocket. But then, by doing that, let's just do that, fold it that way first and then that way. So by doing that, when you open them up, you know, just imagine they are now glued together. So when you do turn the page, it is the full double spread. So that is the first spread page, and then that is the second page spread, and then, you know, rinse and repeat. So instead of that page being on its own like that, it would be there because that is part of that page. 1 second. Sorry guys, the door went and we thought it was the cat food being delivered, but it wasn't. It was the takeaway menu. Yeah, so this page is clearly a double spread because his arm follows onto that. Now you could just, like many people have done, and fold down it or cut down it. It doesn't really matter, it's just the extra part of his arm. But I like to keep the, I would like to keep these pages together, so when you open it, it will be like a full page spread. Yeah, I can just see that I could see that I was just making really hard work for myself. So then I went and made it even harder. So these I printed out onto 100 GSM paper, just normal print paper. It was the Navigator presentation paper, 100 GSM. So it's nice colourings and things like that. The images are nice and crisp. Yeah, so these are going to be my actual journal pages. But then I thought, right, well, I have some photo paper, some glossy photo paper lurking around that I've had for years and years. So I thought, right, well, let's try printing it on that because I've not used it for ages. And maybe use that as the pages. But then, like, it's too glossy. This isn't a journal I'm going to actually be writing in. This is just going to be, the journal will be these pages, basically. So I thought, well, we'll print it anyway, because my idea then was, okay, well, we'll use these as the journal pages. And then, as you can see, a lot of these you could cut out and layer. So my idea were, right, okay, well, we'll print it on the glossy paper and we'll cut them out and we'll layer them up. Because that way, like this, you know, they do look like photos. So we could just then obviously print them out and, you know, layer them up. So, excuse me, that's what I'm going to be doing. So not everything, but some of these I will be cutting out and adding in as though it was an actual photo. Obviously with the glossy paper. And then, when I don't want to use the glossy one, I printed it out again onto matte photo paper. It is 120 GSM, I believe, but it's matte photo paper. And like I said, again, if I don't want it glossy, then I can just cut these out and layer it up. Yeah, so that's what I shall be doing. That's what these extra pages are going to be for. Okay, so the photo paper, glossy photo paper and the matte photo paper sections of the printouts will be for layering, cutting and layering. Okay, so what I want to do with these is, if I take this one here, I've already had a play and I now know what I want to do. So that is the original. That is when I've manipulated it and played with it and grunged it. Okay, so it might not look much different, but if we put them side by side, you know, it still doesn't look that much different. It's just a bit more grungy and, you know, torn and worn and all that sort of stuff. So instead of gluing the pages together, I have some printer paper that is already aged. I have two types. I got them on Amazon quite a while ago, good few years ago. This one that I'm going to use is this paper. It comes like this. It's already like that, and it is it just says old style, prestige A4 paper, old style, and it's 100 GSM. 120, sorry, GSM, and it can be printed on. I'm not going to print on it this time, however, but it can be printed on. I've printed on it before. It prints beautifully. I have the no, I don't have an HP. I have a Epson Eco Tank, and as I said, it prints on it beautifully. Then I have this one as well, which is marble paper. Again, it's the same, prestige A4, 120 GSM, it can be printed on, and this one's just like a marbled effect, so I might be using some of that throughout as well. But predominantly I'm going to use the other one for the journal page backgrounds. Sorry guys, just throw that back in there out of the way. Yes, so what I've done is I have grunged this up. Basically with this one, it was just printed on normal print paper, so normal 80 GSM. And on the back of it, I just sprayed with water. I used my spritz thing, just water in there and sprayed the back of it. Well, of course, inkjet ink isn't permanent, so when it gets wet, if you leave it for a while, it bleeds through. So I just did that, and then I just dried it with the dryer, heat it tool. Hair dryer would do anything like that. And then that way, and then I just, you know, crunched it. Oh yeah, I dried it first. Dried it first, and then I crunched it up. So I proper scrunched the paper up, and whilst it was like I wet it again all over, it was practically saturated. And then I just dried it again with the hair dryer loosely, opened it up, flattened it out, dried it with the hairdryer till it would with the emboss, heat it dryer until it was dry, and then I glued it onto these pieces of paper. But I only glued these edges. I've just gone around it on the edge with the glue, probably about that much. So just along that and round there and there. It is not glued at all in the middle, and I mean it's perfectly fine. It's not glued at all in the middle. It's not going to come away or anything like that. But I left a little space as well, so I glued, but I came down away from the edge and glued, kind of like that, a little bead of glue across, just round the edges, left the middle. And then what that allowed me to do were, whilst the paper was like that, I'd put it on and kind of do that with it before gluing the edges down. And in doing that, I have managed to get creases in there. So it is not completely flat. And, you know, some of the edges aren't fully glued. So that's good because it gives, you know, we can just give it a bit of a rough up. I haven't inked any of this, by the way. Yeah, none of this has been inked. It's just been wet and dried. Sorry, refocus. It has just been wet and dried and then glued. Yeah, so, and then I just went along the edges of this page with my distress tool. Get off. I'm gonna have to stop putting it on that pin, it doesn't work. Just with this little distress tool. But you can do that with the... Oh, whew, it's all go here today, always when I'm filming. Right, thankfully that was the cat food, so I can get on with it. But yeah, so you know, just roughed up the edges. You could easily do it with the edge of your scissors or something sharp. If you're using scissors or something like that, be careful you do not cut yourself. Yeah, and I haven't inked around it yet, but I might. I was thinking I maybe don't want to ink. Whoa. I was thinking that I maybe don't want to ink. I want kind of the papers to speak for themselves, but maybe in some places I will ink. I don't know. But as you can see, through getting wet, that tore off naturally. And as I said, because it's not glued, in the middle. It is hollow under there. Not that it matters. So what I plan to do is cut out that from one of the other kits, either the glossy one or the other one, I haven't decided yet. So cut that out, and as you can see, it's got a little tab on it there and what looks like brads. And then I will layer that on top, but I will actually use real brads. I have some really teeny tiny ones here. They are teeny, so they will be great to go in there. They're probably about that size actually when they're in. So any page on these kits where it's showing these little brads, I will be using real brads. So, and these here where it's showing little clips, I have a die that I've never used. I got it given, that is these, and some of these small ones here will fit over the top of that, so I'm going to cut those out of black cardstock and we'll use those. Again, there's another little tab there with brads on, so that will, you know, I will probably just cut that tab out, or maybe cut one out and then maybe cut around it, draw around it on some cardstock to make it thicker, and then I will use real brads. Again, I'll use one of them little bulldog clip dies and whatnot. I don't have book corners, unfortunately. Well, I do, but they're metal, and I don't want to use metal book corners, I don't think, but we'll see. Another one there, so that again will get used. Right, so this process was done using normal 80 GSM photo printer paper, so it really bled out and did its thing. This was just a prototype. What I'm going to do now is the same process but with these papers, which are the 100 GSM presentation paper, and I have a feeling they are not going to want to play nicely. Because it is better quality paper, I just have a really funny feeling. What did I do with that first page? I just have a really funny feeling that it's not going to want to play nicely. Let's see here. It's not going to want to play nicely, and it's not going to bleed like I want it to. Like, bleed as in the colour spread outwards. So, in case it doesn't, I have this gorgeous, I love this. No, not that one, even. That's Lighthouse. I have this one. I have this gorgeous Distress Oxide Aged Mahogany. I love this colour. Like, really, really, really love this colour. It's very much like this red. Let's find the brush for it. Yeah, it is very, that is it. It is very much like that when it's in use. So, oh, hang on, here. You can see here. This red here is this, where I've just literally done that with what was left on this brush from using. So that is Aged Mahogany, and it just looks beautiful. So it's going to go with these red bits and things like that beautifully. Yeah, so anyway, in the meantime, what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to do it all on camera, and if I do, some of it will probably be sped up. I am going to start with this page, and I am going to spritz it with water, and we'll see what happens. Pardon me, before I go on, this material here in the background is what I'm going to use for the cover. I have an old book that I have gutted, and these are the front and back covers, and I want to use these as my journal covers, but as you can see, it's not big enough. Not big enough in the slightest. So what I intend on doing is, and these look like that already, that's how they've come, you know, they're already aged, the original end papers as well, so I'm not doing anything to this. I'm not even going to ink around it to enhance it or anything. I'm leaving it as it is because I think it's just great. But also, like I said, it's not big enough, so I have this material here in the background, which I love. So I'm going to layer this up. Well, I'm going to put this on this paper, on this material, and obviously use that as a guide, and you know, so it needs to be poking out a little bit. But because I love this material so much and I've only got a limited amount of it, all this bit on the inside, you're not going to see it. It's going to be wasted because it's going to be glued to the underside of the cover. So what I'm going to do is, you can see a little border around the front cover here. So I'm going to mark that, well, kind of measure. And it's about 1/4 inch, I think, with the look of it. Oh, 1/2 inch, okay. That was a bit out there. Yeah, 1/2 inch, okay. So this needs to be more than that, obviously, and then come in the cover 1/2 inch. So we're going to do 1 inch, or maybe 1 1/4 inch. Okay, and then I'm going to cut strips that wide, and then so I'm going to cut strips that wide, and then I'm going to cut this white material. It doesn't even matter what material I use because you're not going to see it. So I'm going to cut that down to be just the same as the inside there. And then what I will do is, I will, on the sewing machine, because this is going to be on the inside of the journal, so you're not going to see it, I'm going to sew these strips onto the edge of this, so that the wasted material on the inside here that you're not going to see is the white material, and the material you do see on the outside is this beautiful stuff here. And as I said, you're not going to see this because it's going to be glued on the inside of here. And then, so it's going to be like that. And then what I'll do is, so you're going to see, you will see it until I've finished. You know, so you're going to have that on the inside there, like that. Or, you know, like that. And then this overhang, like sewn onto that, but overhanging the journal, so that it then becomes a big enough cover. Down this edge here, I'm going to put some cardboard in. I'm going to kind of make a spine, but not a spine because we're not making a journal. I'm going to put holes in it. So I'll glue some cardboard there because I don't want to punch through the book itself, the book cover itself. And then on this side of it, so when you open that up, I'm going to put some calico material or something on there. Anyway, we'll get to that later on. That's not important right now. Right now, let's get to the fun stuff. And we're going to try and see if we can recreate some of this, like bleeding and stuff. So let's get rid of that. We've got the mats, that's all we need. We'll stand those up there as a reference. Let's get this first page. Alrighty. So, I will do a little bit and then I'll speed it up. Literally just water, nothing in it, just water. Let's spray the mat. Maybe spray this as well. As I said, I don't know how this is going to go because this is better quality paper. So we're going to do it on the back side as well as the front side. Kind of really soak it, and I don't think it's going to play. We might get watermarks on it, but I don't think the ink is going to bleed like I want it to. So let's just... Actually, I'm not bothered about that bleeding, but I want some of this doing. Oh, it's happening there a little bit. Yes, if you can see the colour coming through like that, then you know it is working. So we're going to pretty saturate this side, like so, and then give it a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes, but just give it a few seconds, and then we'll dry it. Oh, see, it's ripping already. I'm not bothered about that. at all. In fact, whilst it's wet, let's do that. Let's try and get it apart down that middle seam, because then the rip will be more authentic than what I can do with the ruler or something. Perfect. Look at that. Perfect. Okay, so I'll just put that over there to one side. Let's dry this. Just pop that on there. Okay. Because what I want for this is... Sorry, I've gone way off track again. What I want for this is... I want it to kind of look like this has been found. And it is being somewhat restored. You know, well, not everybody, but most people are probably going to be going with the, you know, oh, it's old theme. It's an old journal, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, I want that theme of it being old and raggedy and whatnot. I'm just trying to soak some of that water up. But I also want it to be a bit modern. So I'm going to make it appear as though this was lost, then found, and somewhat, like here, it is being somewhat restored by gluing these pages that have been torn out of a book onto these pages to restore it. And then what I will be doing with the actual journal is I will be doing this. I didn't explain that. I will be doing this with it. So I'm not sure whether to use these plastic ones or use actual little tiny rings. But yeah, so it will be like that. And each of these will be a full spread. Torn in half, but looking like they've been somewhat restored. In future, when I glue them, because I'm going to be punching down this side, I'm going to glue these more towards the edge so that any crinkles or anything are on the edge, and then that side is good for punching the holes and sticking together. Ugh. At least that's what's in my head anyway. Whether it works like that, I do not know, but we shall see. Now, not all of these are going to be layered up, so... And there may be one or two pages in between that do have other pages in them. Perhaps. I'm going to fold that and dry whilst it's all squished up. Yeah, so in between the pages, the double spreads, I may just leave a couple of blank spaces or just put plain paper in like that, and then we can add a bits of ephemera or things like that, because we have restored the journal. Then maybe this is where the kind of modern side of it comes in, where we have tried to not recreate as such, but maybe like digitally enhanced, remastered, enhanced, whatever they want to call it, the images, which is where these come into play. So maybe these are maybe these are the original pages that we put in, and then maybe instead of layering these onto these pages, we then add these, cut some of these out and add these into pages in between, as though we have tried to, you know, manipulate the images and digitally restore them, because you know what technology's like these days. Maybe we could do that. I don't know how this is going to go. We'll see. But it's going to be fun, whatever we do. As I said, I'm not going to video the whole process because, my goodness, as you know, I like to talk, and that doesn't help when it comes to filming. So, but this is all I did with the original one that I showed you before. So whilst it was drying, I scrunched it up. I love that colouring that you don't see because it's glued in there. But yeah, yeah, some of the ink is bleeding, whatever you want to call it. Don't mind a few rips and tears in it. After all, like we said, it's got to look authentic. What I also thought of doing with some of these pages is, you know, kind of after doing this, when they're dry, maybe layer them up again like this, but I'm going to kind of maybe do it as a full sheet. Layer it up, not a full sheet, you know, do that with them. Layer them up like so when they're dry, and then maybe look and think, well, that were a bit of a, you know, maybe somebody somewhere along the line has stumbled across this journal, looked and thought, well, that's a load of rubbish, got hold of it and gone, you know, they've literally torn right the way across it. So like people do when they're trying to get rid of a book, it's like, oh, that's rubbish, so, and then maybe again the other way, so that when we put them on here, these original pages, we have to piece them together. So this is us restoring those original pages into this journal, and then maybe on the next page we'll leave it blank. So that will be that first page, and then next will be the other side, this on the other side again. So maybe we leave them blank as they are, with like pockets or something like that in there, for us to then add, you know, things like these images and writings and things, or things like that, the bits of ephemera, the tags and stuff, to show, you know, like our own documentation of how we put this back together and that sort of thing. Maybe I don't know, I just don't know. Yeah, but anyway, so I'm gonna stop rambling and I'm gonna go and make tea. That I'm actually not doing anything with. I'm gonna leave it as it is. Of course, it's all a bit raggedy, which is fine. There will be like water staining on that. I might add a bit of ink on it, but I don't think so, because you can see the little watermarks on it now it's drying. That's good, because that's going to go in the front of the journal. So what would be on this page, no it wouldn't, this one would be on that page, that side of the page. That would be on a page there. So that explains what the book is about. That would be the first page. Then we would turn it over. It would be that page. Then this. Then we'd turn that over, and that would be that page. And then obviously we add another page there, and that would be that page, blah blah blah. But maybe, as I was saying, in between, what would be that, those two front pages and that page, maybe we then, you know, so it would be like that before we glue them in. Maybe we document our own findings and ways that we, I don't know, ways that we tried to restore it. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna go. So you get the gist of it. This just needs to dry, and then I am actually really happy with the way that's gone, although it hasn't kind of merged or stained like this one. But this is normal printer paper, so it's more fragile, but it has, you know, it does still look good. So, and I can add a little bit more with some ink if I wanted to, a little bit extra to it with ink if I wanted to. See, now this picture is damaged, so, you know, that's fine. We can keep them little bits, glue it in, and then, you know, we take these beautiful image here and we maybe just stick it over the top, so that you can flip it up to show, well, that was the original and it was damaged, but we digitally remastered it, and this is what it should look like. That's what I'm thinking, guys. Maybe something along those lines. Anywho, as I said, I'm not going to do it all on camera, but I will come back from time to time to give updates and do other bits on camera with you. Oh yeah, that's bleeding and blending great there now. Oh, love it. So there, I will just leave those actually to air dry. And we'll see what happens. So I'm actually going to layer that on top of that. Kind of maybe push it down a bit, because some of that might seep through. In fact, if I just maybe spray it again. I need some more water in my spray bottle. Yeah, so maybe if we spray some more water on it and leave it, some of that might soak through into there. And this is what we're going to do. We're just kind of going to layer each page up, doing the same thing, and hope for the best. Let's spray a bit more of the mat. Stick it to the mat like so. And hopefully, as I said, some of the colouring maybe might come through. I need to fill that bottle up. Maybe some of it might bleed through and make it look super cool. Okay, guys. So, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'm going to wrap my own head around my own ideas, because I'm just as confused as you are right now, guys. I am going to love you and leave you. I am going to try my best to get this video up. Not necessarily today, because it is now 5:30, but I might be able to actually. And yes, so I will see you all again very soon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care, stay safe. Please, please, please go and check out all the other videos. And yeah, have fun doing so. And I will see you all again very soon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye. Psst, guys, do you like my nails? Creepy, creepy, creepy. I had them done especially for the occasion to help set the mood. Aren't they cool? Yeah, had them done in the nail salon a couple of days. Well, actually on the 31st. Ready. It is so cool, so creepy cool. Anyway, guys, I'm going. Love you and leave you. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.